In this video, I'll show you how Kount integration works in Xpayments and Xcard. First, you need to configure an account in Xpayments backend. So let's log into Xpayments. Enter a PIN code. Go to Payment Configuration. Select the necessary payment configuration. Kount configuration is connected to the payment configuration in Xpayments. That means that it's connected to the merchant account of the payment gateway. Payment configuration can use only one Kount setup, and the same merchant account in Kount system can be used for several different payment configurations. For example, if a merchant uses two different payment gateways to process payments in the store, he can use the same Kount merchant ID for both, and there will be a special site ID for each configuration. Alternatively, these Kount configurations might be exactly the same or completely different. Now, let's configure Kount. Merchant can use API key or certificate files for the authentication in Kount anti-fraud screening service. The first way is simpler and it's recommended. The second one is left for the backwards compatibility. The API key can be generated on this page. Go to Admin section, API keys. You can copy it and paste it in configuration page. If there is a mistake in any field of the form, a merchant is notified about it. As soon as Kount information is submitted, Xpayments sends a background request to Kount. This particular request contains fake data for a simple transaction. If Kount responds correctly, saying that the card is invalid, it means that the communication process itself is correct. Otherwise, you'll receive an error message from Kount. For example, if we enter a wrong merchant ID, site ID or API key, an error message is displayed. Now everything is okay and we are ready to go live or test it. Change it to test mode. Make sure the Kount configuration is enabled. Let's check how it works for customers. Add a product to cart. Go to Checkout. I'll fill in the info of a US-based customer. And enter a fake credit card number. Since I'm in a test mode, I can use a fake credit card. Everything is okay. The order has been placed. Let's check it from the admin side. The order is now marked with the orange shield, which means that manual review is required. Scroll down the page, you can see status, score, and triggered rules. Now we need to check the order in Xpayments. In Xpayments backend, you can see the results of Kount anti-fraud screening. There is a special section in the bottom on the left. Again, we see here status, score, and triggered rules. Besides, you can check it here. You can see the list of data received from Kount, which relates to the transaction. The transaction is supposed to be reviewed manually, and there are two buttons here allowing to accept or decline the transaction. You can also see that the status says authorized with warning. And if we go to payments list, we'll see the same status here. So now we can accept or decline it. We're planning to simplify the process of payment declination. Xpayments will automatically send void or refund requests to the payment gateway. These requests will correspond to the actual payment status, so that the authorized payment is voided and the captured one is refunded. Right now it's not yet implemented, so a merchant should void or refund the payment manually. And the buttons only change the status. We click Decline and we see it marked as declined here. In order to be able to place an order with accepted status, we need to disable some triggered rules in Kount. We go to the Kount admin backend, tab Fraud Control, Rules. Number 5 and 15. Select Disable. Click Save. And activate. We go to the storefront and proceed as a customer. I live in Russia, St. Petersburg, so I'll use this address. I'll use a card issued in Russia, so it has Russian BIN. This is a real card. So let's check the order. The shield is green. We see that the anti-fraud check is passed. Score is 26, and we see the transaction ID. Let's check it in Xpayments. Everything seems to be okay with it. The status is authorized. We can check the transaction in Kount backend. We see device info, billing and shipping address, etc. Fraud rules are triggered. And now let's see another use case when the transaction is fraud and is declined by Kount. Let's check it here. We have a special rule named Plague. It declines the transaction if it has tester in a customer's name. So the rule is enabled. Let's place an order as tester. and see what's going to happen. The payment has failed. If we check the transaction in Xcard, it's marked with a red shield. We see a plague rule among triggered rules. If you go to X payments, the transaction will have a declined status. In the order details, we see that the transaction has been declined by Kount anti-fraud system. Thanks for watching.